Welcome to this explainer. Grab a seat, get comfortable, and settle in, because today we're embarking on a real masterclass in Islamic history. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through the life, the brilliant mind, and the enduring legacy of a man known simply as Imam al-Azam, the greatest Imam. We're going to explore exactly how one individual's towering intellect and unyielding devotion shaped an entire system of jurisprudence, a system that, remarkably, still governs the lives of hundreds of millions of people today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's the syllabus for our masterclass today. We're going to cover 1. The Silk Trader of Kufa. 2. Pioneering Islamic Jurisprudence. 3. Theology and the Maturidi Creed. 4. Defying the Abbasid Caliph. And finally, 5. A Global Hanafi Legacy.
Starting right off with Section 1, the Silk Trader of Kufa. So consider this question for a second. How exactly did a Persian silk merchant, living in the bustling, incredibly diverse, cosmopolitan hub of Kufa during the early Islamic period, transform into the greatest Imam? I mean, he wasn't born into a prestigious family of religious scholars, yet he ultimately became the absolute benchmark for all of them.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the vivid picture his contemporaries actually painted of him. This quote comes directly from his famous student, Abu Yusuf. You know, we often picture ancient scholars as these dusty, reclusive figures hunched over books. But Abu Hanifa was striking. He was known for his beautiful clothing, his excellent posture, and this fragrant scent of cologne he literally always wore. He was immensely eloquent, possessing this captivating, sweet speaking tone that just commanded deep reverence in any gathering.
Born right around 699 CE in Kufa, Abu Hanifa's real name was Nu'man ibn Thabit. He was of Persian ancestry. In fact, his grandson noted their lineage went back to free Persians, specifically the Marzbins, which were the aristocratic military governors of the old Sasanian Empire. But Abu Hanifa actually made his living producing and selling kaz, a type of really fine silk clothing. And this commercial background in a major trade hub gave him a highly practical understanding of people, contracts, and just everyday life. Yet despite his wealth and those fine clothes we mentioned, he was legendary for his extreme asceticism, his incredible generosity, and a scrupulous piety that defined literally his every action. This unique blend positioned him perfectly to later become a deeply respected national symbol of Baghdad.
Moving right along to Section 2, Pioneering Islamic Jurisprudence.
Think about this for a minute. This was the ultimate question facing the early Muslims. How do you govern a rapidly expanding, sprawling, and wildly diverse empire stretching across multiple continents using primary texts that were revealed decades earlier in the Arabian desert? Abu Hanifa realized they needed a structured system. They needed practical, reliable, problem-solving algorithms.
Let's see how this builds. To solve this monumental issue, he constructed a famous, rigorous hierarchy of legal sources. When faced with a new legal question, he applied a strict step-by-step approach. First, he looked to the Quran. If the answer wasn't explicitly there, he moved to step 2, the authentic hadith, the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. Next came the consensus of the community, known as ijma. But if those primary sources didn't cover a totally novel situation, he utilized step 4, analogal reasoning, step 5, juristic discretion, and finally, step 6, the local customs of the people, known as urf.
Let's unpack those highly advanced tools, starting with qiyas, or analogical reasoning. This is basically the process of deducing a new legal ruling by finding a common underlying cause between a brand new situation and an established ruling already found in the primary texts. Now, while earlier scholars certainly used reasoning informally, it was Abu Hanifa who formally adopted and instituted qiyas as an official, central pillar of Islamic law. But you know what happens when strict logic leads to an unfair or rigid outcome? Enter istihsan, or juristic discretion. This is a brilliant legal tool that allowed Abu Hanifa to actually depart from strict analogical reasoning if that reasoning would cause undue hardship or just go against the broader public interest. By formally utilizing istihsan, he essentially injected vital flexibility, equity, and human reason directly into the veins of Islamic law. His profound methodology wasn't just theoretical. It was captured in several foundational academic works attributed to him. Texts like Al-Fiqh al-Akbar, Al-Musnad, Al-Wasiya, and Al-Fiqh al-Absat laid the groundwork for his entire school of thought. And these works are absolutely critical because they beautifully bridge the gap between practical daily law and high-level theology.
Which brings us to Section 3, Theology and the Maturidi Creed.
In the early centuries of Islam, there was a massive, heated debate about how exactly to understand descriptions of God in the Quran. On one side, some critics pushed for literal anthropomorphism, meaning, for example, if the text mentions God's hand, they believed it literally meant a physical limb. But Abu Hanifa fiercely rejected this. His writings closely align with what would later become the Maturidi school of theology. He utilized ta'wil, or interpretive explanation. To Abu Hanifa, affirming God's hand meant affirming an attribute of majesty or grace or power, completely avoiding any suggestion of physical form, limitation, or direction, because fundamentally, God is exalted far beyond creation.
And this brilliantly illustrates his theological genius. In his work Al-Fiqh al-Akbar, Abu Hanifa tackles the incredibly complex nature of God's speech. He makes this profound distinction between kalam nafsi, which is the eternal, uncreated essence of God's speech as a divine attribute, and kalam lafsi, the created verbal expressions of that speech taking the form of human letters, sounds, and ink. It's a highly sophisticated defense of God's absolute transcendence above the created material world.
All right, Section 4, Defying the Abbasid Caliph. Things take a dramatic turn here. In the year 763 CE, the incredibly powerful Abbasid Caliph, al-Mansur, offered Abu Hanifa the most prestigious legal position in the entire empire, chief judge of the state. But Abu Hanifa instantly realized the caliph just wanted to use his stellar reputation to rubber stamp and legitimize political decrees, so he refused, claiming he was unfit for the role. The caliph, absolutely furious, accused the great Imam of lying. This escalated rapidly, leading to his swift imprisonment and brutal torture. Yet, even locked away in a dungeon, he continued to teach the students who were permitted to visit him, right up until his tragic death in prison in 767 CE.
The exchange that actually sealed his fate is one of the most famous in Islamic history. When Caliph al-Mansur angrily accused Abu Hanifa of lying about being unfit for the job, Abu Hanifa fired back with this razor-sharp, witty defiance. He said, "If I am lying, then my statement is doubly correct. How can you appoint a liar to the exalted post of a judge?" I mean, wow. It was a brilliant logical checkmate that showcased his absolute, unwavering independence from corrupt political power. Finally, we reach Section 5, a global Hanafi legacy.
The legal algorithms he developed in Kufa didn't die with him. They were carried to the ends of the earth by his brilliant students. Two in particular really stand out. First, Abu Yusuf, who, ironically, went on to accept the very position his teacher died refusing, becoming the very first Chief Justice in the Muslim world under Caliph Harun al-Rashid. And second, Muhammad al-Shaybani, a towering intellect who actually went on to teach the founder of another major legal school, the famous Imam al-Shafi'i.
So, the crucial point is this. Because of the robust, practical, and highly reasoned nature of his methodology, it spread like wildfire. Today, it's estimated that a staggering 45% of the global Muslim population follows the Hanafi school of jurisprudence. That's nearly half. Just look at the explosive geographic footprint of his legacy. The Hanafi school is the predominant legal framework for Muslims across vast stretches of the globe. We're talking from the steppes of Central Asia, through the massive populations of South Asia, all throughout the Middle East and Turkey, and deep into the Balkans and Europe. It is a profound testament to the adaptability and enduring logic of his system.
Despite some early criticisms from contemporaries who were frankly skeptical of his heavy reliance on reason, history has overwhelmingly vindicated him. Later titans of Islamic scholarship, including al-Ghazali and Ibn Taymiyyah, profusely praised his knowledge and fiercely defended his reputation. He became a beloved national symbol of Baghdad and is universally remembered today as al-Imam al-Azam.
We close our masterclass with this final provocative thought. Just take a step back and look at the sheer scale of this impact. How did a single silk merchant, armed with nothing but an unyielding commitment to rigorous logic, analogical reasoning, and deep personal piety, manage to shape an entire millennium of global law? It's an incredible reminder of the power of a highly structured, principled mind. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I will see you next time.